The man tied to the chair had the kind of jawline that could cut glass, which was a real problem when all I wanted to do was punch it. He sat there, wrists bound behind him with a pair of heavy-duty flex cuffs, looking less like a captive and more like a king surveying his slightly disappointing throne room, which in this case was a damp, anonymous warehouse in Sable Harbor's less than scenic docklands. My territory, my problem, you know, he said, his voice a low, smooth baritone that was entirely too calm for someone who'd been snatched off a quiet street an hour ago. The decor is a little underwhelming. I was expecting more skulls, maybe a flickering bare bulb. You guys are really phoning it in. I ignored him, checking the knots on his ankles for the third time. They were solid. The intel had been clear. A high-value target from an out-of-town crew trying to move in on the Halifax Charter's turf. A pretty boy with expensive taste and a penchant for wandering alone. Name, unknown. Importance, critical. Orders from one of the bishop's rivals, passed down through a frantic, paranoid lieutenant. Get him, make him talk, do it quietly. So I did. Now, looking at the sharp cut of his designer suit, a charcoal gray that probably cost more than my car, and the unnerving confidence in his dark eyes, I felt a knot of unease tighten in my gut. This felt too easy, too clean. I pulled up a metal stool, the sound scraping harshly in the silence, and sat opposite him. Here's how this works, I said, my voice flat, the one I used for business. I ask questions, you give answers. The more you cooperate, the less this has to hurt. He actually smiled, a slow, infuriating curve of his lips. Go on then, dazzle me. Who do you work for? My tailor, primarily a delightful man named Alberto. Do you need a referral? I leaned forward, my patience fraying. Don't be a smartass. Your crew, the one trying to muscle in on Sable Harbor. He tilted his head, a flicker of genuine curiosity in his expression. Is that what this is about? A turf war? How delightfully quaint. My hand twitched. Punching him would be counterproductive, but satisfying, deeply satisfying. I took a breath. Last chance. Who are you? He looked me straight in the eye, the smile never leaving his face. It was the kind of look that stripped you down, saw every crack in your armor. My name is Leander Halifax, he said, as if commenting on the weather. And I think you've just made the biggest mistake of your career. A cold dread, slick and immediate, washed over me. Halifax, as in the Halifax Charter. You're lying. The words came out thin, desperate. Am I? He purred. My father is a man of particular habits. He hates tardiness, he hates loose ends, and he especially hates when his employees misplace his property. He leaned forward as far as his bonds would allow, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. And right now, Rook Townsend, you've misplaced his only son. The name hit me like a physical blow. Rook Townsend. He knew my name. Of course he knew my name. I was Orson Bishop's top enforcer, his right hand, the ghost who cleaned up messes, and I had just kidnapped the heir to the entire kingdom. My blood ran cold. The bishop wasn't just a crime lord. He was an old-world monarch. He valued strength, tradition, and above all, loyalty. He despised weakness, and there was no greater weakness than incompetence, and this was incompetence on a biblical scale. The intel must have been a setup, a play by an internal rival to get me out of the picture, and I'd walked right into it like a lamb to the slaughter. Leander watched the cascade of emotions on my face with the detached interest of a scientist observing a particularly fascinating chemical reaction. There it is, he murmured. The exact moment the hamster wheel in your head catches fire. My mind raced, searching for an exit, a solution, anything. Option 1, kill him, dump the body, disappear, but the bishop would hunt me to the ends of the earth. Option 2, let him go, beg for forgiveness. I'd be lucky if death was quick. The bishop didn't forgive mistakes of this magnitude. Option 3, there was no option 3, so what's it to be? Rook, Leander asked, his tone light, conversational, a bullet, or a very, very awkward conversation with my father. I stared at him, my professional calm shattered. For the first time in years, I was genuinely, existentially terrified. He saw it, I knew he did. The predator recognizes the scent of fear, or, he said, drawing the word out, there's a fourth option. I waited, barely breathing. You untie me. He continued, you drive me back to my penthouse, and this little misunderstanding stays between us. It was too good to be true, a lifeline I didn't deserve. Why? I managed to croak out, because, he said, his eyes glittering with something I couldn't decipher, something sharp and calculating. This is far more interesting. Having the bishop's most loyal enforcer owe me a favor. The possibilities are endless. He wasn't offering me a pardon. He was offering me a different kind of leash, but it was better than a noose. I moved without another word, my hands shaking slightly as I found the key for the flex cuffs and unlocked them. The moment his hands were free, he didn't move. He just sat there, rubbing his wrists, his gaze fixed on me. The power dynamic in the room had not just shifted, it had inverted with crushing force. My car is a few blocks away, I said, my voice hoarse. No, Leander said calmly, we'll take yours. I want to see what kind of car a man like you drives. The drive to the upscale part of the city was the longest 20 minutes of my life. He sat in the passenger seat of my beat-up sedan, silent, looking out the window as if he were on a leisurely tour. I, on the other hand, felt like a dead man driving his own hearse. We arrived at the Spire, the most obscenely luxurious residential building in Sable Harbor. The doorman's eyes widened slightly as he saw my car, but a subtle gesture from Leander had him opening the door with a respectful nod. His penthouse was what you'd expect, floor-to-ceiling windows with a panoramic view of the harbor, minimalist furniture that cost a fortune, and an air of sterile perfection. Drink, he offered, heading to a wet bar that looked better stocked than most pubs. No, I should go. You're not going anywhere, he said, not even looking at me as he poured 2 glasses of amber liquid. I haven't decided what to do with you yet. He walked over and handed me a glass. My fingers brushed against his, and a jolt, like static electricity, shot up my arm. His skin was cool. Here's the deal, Rook, he said, his voice soft but laced with steel. For now, you're mine. You answer my calls, you come when I summon you, you do what I say. In return, I don't mention to my father that his most trusted man is dangerously incompetent. He took a sip of his drink, his eyes never leaving mine over the rim of the glass. Consider it your penance. Now, my first command, I have a supposedly jammed high-tech smart shower valve. Go fix it. He gestured towards a sleek, black door. The bathroom is through there. Don't take too long. I stared at him, then at the bathroom door. Fix a shower. Was he serious? This was a test. It had to be a power play to establish the new order of things. Me, the tough guy enforcer, enforcer reduced to a handyman. Fine, I could swallow my pride. It tasted like ash, but it was better than the alternative. I don't have any tools, I said, my voice tight. A man of your talents, Leander countered, a mocking lilt in his voice. I'm sure you'll improvise. He waved a dismissive hand and settled onto a sprawling white sofa, looking completely at ease. I walked to the bathroom, my boots feeling heavy on the polished marble floor. The bathroom was bigger than my entire apartment, a vast expanse of black marble and chrome fixtures. The shower was a glass-walled monstrosity that looked like the cockpit of a spaceship. I stepped inside, leaving the door ajar. There was a control panel on the wall with about 20 different symbols on it, no valve in sight. I pressed a button with a symbol that looked like a waterfall. Nothing happened. I pressed another one that looked like a cloud. Still nothing. This was absurd. I was a man who could break down a door in under 5 seconds and hotwire a car with a paperclip, and I was being defeated by a fancy shower. Footsteps approached. Leander appeared in the doorway, leaning against the frame. He had taken off his suit jacket and unbuttoned the top 2 buttons of his shirt, revealing the clean, sharp lines of his collarbone. Having trouble? He asked, a smug grin playing on his lips. It's a complicated piece of equipment, I grumbled, pushing another button at random. A faint blue light pulsed on the panel and then died. It's Italian, he said, as if that explained everything. It responds to a delicate touch, not brute force. He walked into the bathroom, the space suddenly feeling much, much smaller. He smelled of expensive whiskey and something else, clean, crisp, like fresh laundry and cold, hard cash. It was intoxicating. And that thought, right there, was a 5-alarm fire in my head. I had a secret, a big one that would get me killed faster than this kidnapping fiasco if the bishop ever found out. He was notoriously old school. He didn't just dislike homosexuality, he saw it as a fundamental weakness, a perversion of the natural order of strength and family. I'd spent my entire adult life building a wall of stone and ice around that part of myself, projecting an aura of untouchable, aggressive masculinity, and now, the man who held my life in his hands was standing a foot away from me, half undressed, in a steamy bathroom, smelling like a rich person's sin. He reached past me, his arm brushing against my chest. I flinched, my whole body tensing up. His fingers danced over the control panel. He tapped a sequence of symbols, and with a soft hiss, a fine mist began to spray from the ceiling. See, he whispered, his lips close to my ear, delicate. His breath was warm on my neck. I could feel the heat radiating off his body. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic, panicked rhythm. I had to get out of there. It's fixed, I said abruptly, stepping back and nearly tripping. Oh.